Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me this week. This is your weekly reading from June 5th to June 11th. I am Jean, and I thank you all so much for all the likes, subscribes, and shares. I am going to be using the Goddesses and Sirens deck this week. It's by Stacy DeMarco. Instead of using my normal tarot deck, I think what I'm just going to do is pick 3 cards from here. Cards that jump out at me. Here's one of them, speaking of. And just see what we need to be focusing on, what aspects or themes in our lives we can be, giving more attention to. Nurturing. Here's one, second one. And waiting for the third one. Here we go. All right. So the first message is healing. That's a very pretty card. I don't use this deck too often because I feel the messages are very intense, but I love it. I do love it, and I love the artwork. Look at the red in her hair. It's very fiery. It's very passionate. So this card is showing us that we need to take some time and let ourselves heal, right? Sometimes, because of the way the world is that we live in, we feel sometimes that it's weak to have to heal, right? Similar to the way that, a soldier might not want to take any downtime because, the war's still going on, or they're afraid to let down their buddies. But if you don't take that time to heal, to recuperate, you're not letting yourself kind of rebuild that solid foundation. So this card is letting us know that we really need to spend some time nurturing ourselves and taking the time to let ourselves recover, right? If you work out or go to the gym, or if you know about this, the way when we go to the gym, right? Let me give you another example. The only way our muscles actually get bigger is when what they do is they tear. The muscle fibers tear, right? You have to give those muscle fibers time to repair. And in doing so, that is when they get stronger. That is when they get tougher. Then they have more endurance, and the muscles able to do more. So think of it like that, if that helps, because I know it can be very tough, especially for people who are used to carrying a heavy load. If you're used to not leaning on anybody, if you're used to, going through a lot, you will find it very foreign to take some downtime. But if you don't let those muscles rest, there's going to be some serious injury, right? And in this case, you need to give yourself the rest and the break that you need so that you can heal and become stronger. All right. This is a really pretty card also, except for that ugly, nasty thing in the background. The Sirens, Temptation. So in the tarot decks, this would kind of equate to the Devil card, right? Here you've got these beautiful, enchanting women, right? And yet look at their hands. So this is kind of based on that story. I think it's the Greek story, right? I think it's Jason and the Argonauts. I'm pretty sure I could have that very wrong, so feel free to leave in the comments below what the real story was. But, the sailors would have to kind of bind themselves to the ships or cover their eyes and their ears so they wouldn't hear the tempting call of these beautiful sirens, because it was bewitching, right? They had no power over it whatsoever. And once they got close and they gave into the temptation, they were trapped. They were unable to get away. I don't remember exactly what happened. I know they died, but how they did it, who knows. But you see the skulls of all those people near them that were unable to resist the sirens. And if I recall correctly, I believe there were three. So I want to say that this is actually the third siren here, that nasty thing. So on the surface, there could be something that is tempting you, right? And on the surface, it seems harmless, much like, one of these beautiful, alluring women. You think, there's no harm, or it looks nice, it looks easy, it looks something I could, get away with. It looks like it couldn't be harmful. But below the surface, this is what's really lurking. So I feel like we're going to each be tested with something this week that is going to tempt us it could be something simple. It could be something very paramount, just depending on, where you are in your life. But what this card is cautioning us is not to give into it, right? Because it does seem like it might be something very alluring, but yet once you're in, much like the devil card in the tarot, you're lost. You no longer have your free will. It doesn't matter what you want, because you're stuck in the grasps of whatever it is. This could be, again, like gambling, or you might see it as just like a fun night out with friends, right? It seems very alluring, like a good time. And you're thinking, hey, you know what? I'll just take, $50 and have a good time with some friends, and we'll go out to the casino. But then before you know it, you've probably gone to the ATM a couple of times, withdrawn several $100s, and you're down, right? So, that's just one example to give you an idea of what's going on. But it seems like there's going to be a temptation of some sorts, and you might not even recognize it. But I feel like when you're faced with it, pay attention to the signs that your body is giving you, because on the conscious forefront of your brain, you're going to be thinking, why not, right? It's not a big deal. But I feel like if you pay attention to those signals that your body gives you, that tightening of the stomach, maybe sometimes even the tightening of the throat, sometimes your friends will say, hey, do you really want to go? Your body kind of tenses up and gets defensive. Your throat might tighten up. And if you notice these things happening, it's because your intuition is telling you it's not a good idea, right? Okay, let's see what the third card is for the week. Self-esteem. Wow, this is really neat. So the story of this card, and again, if anybody knows this story better than I do, please feel free to leave it in the comments below. So I'm just going to give you the gist. She was very pretty, very beautiful. But I don't remember, for some reason, she ended up hiding out in a cave, right? And when she went into the cave, I think her brother had done something to upset her. I think she was like the sun. And when she went into the cave, there was darkness all over the land. The flowers died. People were sad. People were unhappy. And nobody could lure her out of the cave because she had been so upset. And so I think what a friend did, or like her sister-in-law, was she like tricked her by putting a mirror in front of her face. And when she saw her own reflection, she was kind of lured back outside somehow, because she saw her own radiance, but she didn't know it was hers. So I might have completely butchered that story, but I hope you understand the gist of it, right? You might not recognize your inner sunshine, your inner beauty, and that radiance from within, but the people around you do, right? So embrace and feel that inner sunshine and that radiance, because you have a lot to give. And when you hide it away from yourself and from others, there are, repercussions that, like, there are other parts of your life that start to like wither away. But when you can feel that inner sunshine, it sounds kind of cheesy, but if you can feel that inner glow, that fire, that divine spark within you, then then those around you, yourself, like that love will come out and just nurture, the things around you to grow from your love, right? You might not see it as love. You might not even think that you're sharing love, but when you have that belief, I suppose it's more of a belief, not that you're pretty or that you're fast or that you're a good football player, but it's more of like this belief that you radiate, right? If you can believe, when you believe that you radiate, then that radiance will shine further out and others will feel it. Okay? So, healing, temptation, and self esteem seem to be our themes for this week. So, please feel free to share in the comments below. I'd super be interested to hear any feedback and how this might relate to any of you guys. Okay, thank you guys again so much. Have a great week.